Marvel might be cooking up something cool for Captain America fans. So you know how Chris Evans has been dropping hints about possibly coming back as Cap? Well, he's not shutting the door on that idea, but hold your horses, cause he's not grabbing that star-spangled shield anytime soon. After all the superhero craziness, our original Captain America, Steve Rogers, takes a trip to the past, lives a full life, and shows up in the present as a wise old man. Sam Wilson notices a wedding ring on Steve's finger and tries to get the scoop, but Cap, being all mysterious, just says, "Nah, not gonna spill the beans." Turns out, besides finally tying the knot with Peggy Carter, Steve wraps up this epic mission of returning all the Infinity Stones where they belong. Now, Marvel Studios has been dropping hints and rumors for about 3 years, and it looks like they might be gearing up for a project called Nomad that dives deep into this untold Cap adventure. What's the deal with the name Nomad in Marvel, and how did it come about? Nomad is a title that Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, once took on in the comics. Fans thought this might happen in the MCU too, especially after Captain America Civil War. However, co-director Joe Russo clarified that while he's not exactly Nomad, he embodies the spirit of that character. After Chris Evans left the scene, the Nomad name resurfaced in 2020 when Marvel trademarked it along with other titles. Interestingly, Marvel never officially announced Marvel Studios' Nomad, but the trademark is still active after 3 years. This suggests that Marvel might have plans for it and the character associated with it.
Don't do anything stupid till I get back.
How can I? You're taking all this stupid with you.
There were also reports in 2021 that Chris Evans might return as Captain America despite his previous statements. If he does return, he might not be alone on his time-traveling adventure. Could Black Widow team up with Nomad? There's been speculation about Chris Evans returning as Captain America and the potential involvement of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. A Reddit post, later deleted at Marvel Studios' request, hinted at Natasha Romanoff assisting Steve Rogers on his timeline-cleaning journey alongside the Nomad storyline. While there's no official confirmation of this detail, it's interesting to note that the same post contained accurate details about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, causing quite a stir in Hollywood's comic book movie scene. While Scarlett Johansson's return to the MCU isn't confirmed, signs even before the Nomad discussions hinted at Romanoff's potential comeback. Before her solo movie, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige emphasized that Johansson had more to do in the MCU, mentioning a top-secret Marvel Studios project on her to-do list. This could possibly be related to Nomad, as suggested by the deleted subreddit post. The post also mentioned both Johansson and Chris Evans serving as executive producers and reuniting on screen. In a franchise that now explores time and space, the question arises, where could Captain America and Black Widow end up in a world that has moved on without them? Nomad, being a man out of time, along with a potentially resurrected Natasha Romanoff, could show up anywhere in the future of the MCU. They might not necessarily have conversations with new characters like Black Panther or Shang-Chi, but the Nomad storyline could be placed in any setting, just as Black Widow arrived after Avengers Endgame despite the character's passing. Given Loki's centrality in manipulating time, it would make sense for him to take notice of these out-of-place characters. Pulling them out of their timeline could lead to unexpected places, perhaps involving them in a secret war hinted at in the MCU. However, recent changes in the MCU timeline could add more unpredictability to their journey. It's important to note that the potential project involving the return of two presumed gone heroes, Nomad and Black Widow, is based on details that Marvel Studios has neither confirmed nor denied. If it's in the works, strikes like the one from WGA and SAG-AFTRA might have temporarily halted progress, and internal issues could further slow down momentum. With ongoing rescheduling and restarting of projects, especially on the small screen, it raises questions about whether there's room for Nomad to make an appearance amidst all the changes. Interestingly, in a Marvel Cinematic Universe that's exploring dimensions and history, Steve Rogers dropping off the Infinity Stones could lead to him popping up almost anywhere. The last time we saw him, he was in his 80s, and although neither Chris Evans nor Scarlett Johansson are close to that age, the passage of time in returning the stones allows for their characters to reappear at some point. While Captain America didn't disclose where he went, we might eventually find out, not necessarily at the end of it all, but somewhere along the way. The fate of Captain America's family after he returned to the past has been left ambiguous in the MCU. In Avengers Endgame, Steve Rogers goes back in time to be with Peggy Carter and live out his life. It's revealed that Peggy married someone else and had children, but the identity of her husband isn't explicitly disclosed. Unlike WandaVision, where Wanda and Vision raise kids, or Avengers Age of Ultron, where Hawkeye has a secret family, the MCU hasn't provided details about Captain America's family life after his time-traveling journey. The wholesome and traditional nature of Captain America might suggest the possibility of him having a family, but the specifics remain unknown in the MCU narrative. In The Winter Soldier, fans got some answers about Peggy Carter's life after Captain America went into the ice. Steve Rogers visits Peggy, and it becomes clear that she lived a full and complete life. In a scene where Peggy is talking to Steve, family photos are briefly shown, revealing Peggy and her 2 children, a boy and a girl. However, the identity of Peggy's husband, the father of the children, is not shown in these photos. At the time of the movie's release, some fans were disappointed at the idea of Peggy moving on with someone else, not because she shouldn't, but because they had hoped to see her and Steve together. However, the comics have taken a different route, with Captain America eventually ending up with Peggy's niece, Sharon. Comics can be quite unpredictable and different from fan expectations. In Avengers Endgame, Steve Rogers goes back in time to be with Peggy Carter, giving him a chance at a happy life. This raised questions about whether Steve was the father of Peggy's children, whose photos were briefly shown in The Winter Soldier. The writers, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, clarified that it was always their intention that Steve was the father of Peggy's 2 children. However, they acknowledged the time travel aspect introduces some loopholes. They also hinted that the children might have some super soldier DNA. Considering Steve's age at the end of Endgame, his children would likely be adults. If he passed on super soldier DNA, they might be out there making a difference. However, Marvel hasn't hinted at any projects featuring the children of Steve Rogers. It suggested that the creative team may have decided that the Rogers children lived ordinary lives, perhaps contributing to the world in their own way, possibly through nonprofit work. In alternate universes, Steve Rogers has children named James and Sarah, but not with Peggy Carter. James Rogers. In the 2008 animated film Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow, James, named after Cap's friend Bucky, inherits his father's abilities due to super soldier DNA. Unfortunately, Steve falls in battle against Ultron, and James is left to be raised by Tony Stark. James wields an energy shield created by Tony Stark. Sarah Rogers. In a 1998 issue of What If, an alternate reality explores a scenario where Captain America and other Marvel heroes settle down to raise families. Captain America forms a relationship with Rogue, referred to as Carol in this reality, a mutant from the X-Men. They have a daughter named Sarah, who inherits super strength, flight, and durability from her mom. However, she adopts her father's morals and principles. In this storyline, she joins other superpowered teenagers to bring peace to a universe dominated by Sentinels. A Nomad show could introduce Captain America's children through a narrative exploring time travel consequences or the multiverse concept within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whether born in an alternate timeline or emerging from a parallel universe, these legacy characters could carry on Captain America's moral compass and super soldier traits. Well, that's it for today. For now, make sure that you like our video. Please share your views in the comment section with us. Subscribe to the channel to get updated, and do not forget to hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you at the next one.